With Michael Keaton reprising his decades-old Tim Burton movie roles from Batman and Beetlejuice in 2023 and 2024, it seems a sequel to his other iconic 1980s movie is in order. While Michael Keaton has had no shortage of exciting new roles in recent years, such as his outstanding performances in Dopesick, Spotlight, and Spider-Man: Homecoming, the Oscar-winning actor has drawn wider attention as of late after returning to his two classic 1980s characters. Both of these movies were originally directed by Tim Burton, who began the first of his 5 collaborations with Michael Keaton in 1988, giving the actor 2 of his biggest breakout roles. Long before Christian Bale or Robert Pattinson donned the suit and mask, Tim Burton cast Michael Keaton as Bruce Wayne/Batman for his 1989 Batman adaptation. The movie was a critical and commercial hit, leading Keaton and Burton to make a 1992 sequel titled Batman Returns. In 2023, Keaton reprised his Batman role after 31 years for The Flash, though without Burton behind the camera. Now, alongside Burton, Michael Keaton is returning for 2024's Beetlejuice 2 after playing the iconic title character in 1988's Beetlejuice movie. After reviving these characters with new movies, Keaton's pattern suggests another 80s movie return could be in store. Michael Keaton returning to Batman and Beetlejuice makes Mr. Mom 2 more likely. His other most famous 1980s movie role. Poster for Mr. Mom with Caroline, Jack, and their 3 kids. Alongside Batman and Beetlejuice, Michael Keaton's other most famous movie role from that decade is Jack Butler in the 1983 comedy Mr. Mom. Arriving 5 years before the release of Tim Burton's Beetlejuice, Mr. Mom showcased Keaton's comedic chops in a leading role, and proved to be a huge box office hit after making nearly $65 million on an estimated budget of $5 million, via Box Office Mojo. Often considered one of Michael Keaton's best movies, Mr. Mom follows his character becoming a stay-at-home dad after being laid off from his job while his wife returns to work, comically playing on stereotypical role reversals of the 80s. Now that Keaton has returned to his 2 other critical and commercial hits of the 1980s, it wouldn't be surprising for Hollywood to tap into this trend and greenlight Mr. Mom 2. Outside of Keaton's own franchise film returns, Hollywood has had recent successes with rebooting or remaking 80s classics, such as the new Ghostbusters reboot movies, Roadhouse's remake, Tom Cruise's Top Gun, Maverick Return, and George Miller's Mad Max movies. Mr. Mom may not have the same franchise-style potential as Beetlejuice or Batman, but seeing Keaton return to his role as Jack Butler after more than 41 years would be a great follow-up to this new trend. What Mr. Mom 2's story could be if Michael Keaton returned as Jack Butler. Mr. Mom 2 would need a new spin on the original premise. Jack giving his kids a bath in Mr. Mom. With the original movie being centered on a family where a father unexpectedly becomes a stay-at-home dad, the story for Mr. Mom 2 could repeat this premise with one of Jack's sons. Rather than Jack having to learn the ins and outs of constant childcare, a sequel to the 1983 comedy could see Jack as a grandfather helping his son Alex or Kenny step into the Mr. Mom role. Alternatively, Mr. Mom 2 could potentially follow Michael Keaton's Jack taking care of his grandkids for a weekend, with the new conflict being centered around a 1980s-era dad trying to raise kids from an entirely different generation.